The great chamber of the Galactic Senate had never been so quiet. 12 chancellors sat in their floating chairs, arranged in a perfect circle above the holographic display of a small blue planet, Earth, the third rock from an unremarkable yellow star in the outer arm of the galaxy. For 3 standard cycles, they had watched this species crawl out of their caves, build cities, split atoms, and reach for the stars. Now the question before them was simple. What should be done about the humans? Chancellor Vex of the Thorian Empire leaned forward, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. His purple scales reflected the soft light of the chamber. He had lived for 900 cycles and had seen many species rise and fall. But these humans troubled him in ways he could not explain. "They are violent," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "In the last century of their time, they have fought 2 global wars. They killed millions of their own kind. They developed weapons capable of destroying their entire planet, and yet they did not use them. This is not normal behavior." Chancellor Myra of the Celestine Union raised her delicate hand. She was the youngest among them, barely 200 cycles old. Her silver skin glowed with the bioluminescence of her people. "Violence alone does not concern me. Many species are violent. What concerns me is their adaptability. We have been watching them for 50 of their years. In that time, they have gone from simple rockets to building stations in their orbit. They have sent machines to their neighboring planets. Their technological growth is unprecedented." The chamber murmured in agreement. This was the heart of the debate. Not whether humans were dangerous, but how dangerous they might become. Chancellor Drax of the Hegemony slammed his massive fist against his chair. He was a mountain of muscle and anger, standing 3 meters tall with skin like gray stone. His people had conquered 40 systems through pure military might. "I say we end them now, before they become a threat. We've done this before with lesser species. We send the fleet, we glass their planet, and we move on. Simple. And if they resist?" asked Chancellor Vex. Drax laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. "Resist? With what? Their primitive chemical rockets? Their nuclear weapons? We have shields that can stop a supernova. What can they possibly do to us?" Chancellor Kira of the Mindful Collective spoke for the first time. Her species communicated through telepathy, and when she spoke aloud, her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You underestimate them, Drax. I have touched their minds. They dream of things that do not exist. They imagine weapons that defy physics. They write stories about defeating gods. Their capacity for innovation is terrifying." "Stories," Drax scoffed. "They defeat gods in stories. In reality, they die like any other organic species." Chancellor Valier of the Ancient Assembly raised a skeletal hand. His species was among the oldest in the galaxy, nearly immortal beings of pure energy who had taken physical form to participate in galactic affairs. "I have watched many species debate the fate of others. The outcome is always the same. The strong decide, the weak accept. But I wonder if we are asking the wrong question. What question should we ask?" said Chancellor Myra. "Not what we should do about humans, but what humans would do about us." The chamber fell silent. It was a strange thought. No species had ever threatened the combined might of the Galactic Senate. The idea that this young, violent, primitive species might one day challenge them seemed absurd. And yet, Chancellor Vior's words hung in the air like a warning. The debate continued for hours. Some chancellors argued for integration, bringing humans into the galactic community under strict supervision. Others argued for isolation, creating a barrier around their system and letting them develop naturally. A few sided with Drax, calling for immediate elimination before the threat could grow. But no consensus was reached. The chancellors were divided, their arguments circular, their conclusions contradictory. As the session drew to a close, Chancellor Vex made a proposal. "Let us send an observation fleet. 100 ships under the command of Admiral Xenos. They will study the humans up close, assess their true capabilities, and report back. Then we can make an informed decision. The motion passed with 8 votes in favor and 4 against. Drax was among those who opposed it. He believed it was a waste of time, but he was bound by the rules of the Senate, so he accepted the decision with a grunt of disapproval. 2 cycles later, the Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the human solar system. 100 warships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built. Admiral Xenos stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Judgment, watching the blue planet grow larger on his display screen. He was a veteran of 40 campaigns, a decorated warrior who had never known defeat. His species, the Corvan, were bred for war. They had no concept of mercy, no understanding of surrender. They knew only victory or death. "Admiral," said his second-in-command, a young officer named Kel, "we are detecting multiple transmissions from the planet. They appear to be communication signals, music, news, entertainment." Admiral Xenos frowned. "They do not know we are here?" "It appears not, sir. Their detection technology is primitive. They cannot see us yet." The Admiral considered this. He had been ordered to observe, not to engage. But a part of him wanted to test these humans, to see if they were truly as dangerous as the Chancellors feared. Move the fleet closer. Let them see us. The ships advanced, crossing the orbit of the outer planets. Within hours, the humans detected them. Radio signals erupted from the planet, a cacophony of fear and confusion. Military installations went on high alert. Governments convened emergency meetings. Religious leaders proclaimed the end times. Admiral Xenos watched it all with cold amusement. They are panicking, like prey animals sensing a predator. But then something unexpected happened. The panic stopped. The chaos organized itself. Within 12 hours, the humans had launched every spacecraft they had. Old satellites were repurposed as weapons platforms. Nuclear missiles were redirected toward the approaching fleet. And a single transmission was broadcast on all frequencies in every human language. "This is Earth. We come in peace. But if you come in war, we will fight." Admiral Xenos laughed. "They threaten us? With nuclear weapons? Against our shields?" He ordered the fleet to continue its approach. The human missiles arrived first, detonating harmlessly against the energy barriers that surrounded each ship. The Admiral did not even bother to return fire. He wanted the humans to understand how futile their resistance was, but the missiles kept coming. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Every nuclear weapon on the planet was launched into space. The shields held, but the sensors were overwhelmed. The constant explosions created a wall of radiation that blinded the fleet. "Admiral, we cannot see the planet. We are flying blind." "Then use our gravity scanners. Find their population centers. We will show them the price of defiance." But when the gravity scanners came online, they detected something impossible. Movement. Thousands of small objects, each one accelerating toward the fleet at incredible speed. "What are those?" demanded the Admiral. "Unknown, sir. They appear to be debris? No, wait. They are ships. Small ships. Very fast." The humans had done something no other species would have considered. They had stripped their planet of every functional rocket, every airplane, every vehicle that could be modified for space travel. They had sent their people into the void in ships made of scrap metal and desperation, not to fight, to die. The first wave of human ships crashed into the Imperial fleet like a swarm of insects. They had no weapons that could penetrate the shields, but they did not need to. They aimed for the shield generators, the sensor arrays, the communication dishes. They rammed their ships into every vulnerable point they could find. And when they could not ram, they detonated. Admiral Xenos watched in horror as his proud fleet was swarmed by suicide attackers. Each human ship was piloted by volunteers who knew they would not survive. They left behind recorded messages for their families, their friends, their world. They did not fight because they thought they could win. They fought because they refused to lose. "Admiral, we have lost contact with 17 ships. 22 more are reporting critical damage. Return fire. Destroy those insects." The Imperial weapons opened up, filling space with beams of deadly energy. Human ships exploded by the hundreds. But more kept coming. They had launched everything: cargo ships, passenger planes, even a converted school bus that had been fitted with a rocket engine and a guidance system. By the time the swarm was cleared, the Imperial fleet had lost 34 ships. Another 40 were too damaged to continue. Admiral Xenos looked at the carnage and felt something he had never felt before: fear. These humans were insane. They had thrown their entire civilization against an enemy they could not defeat. And they had hurt him. They had hurt the undefeatable Imperial fleet. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the planet." The face of a human appeared on the screen. An old woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She wore a military uniform covered in medals. "To the commander of the alien fleet. I am General Sophia Chun, representing the United Nations of Earth. You have seen what we are willing to do. You have seen how we fight. Go back to your masters and tell them this: we are not prey. We are not cattle to be slaughtered. We are humans. And we would rather burn our world to ash than live as slaves. This is not a negotiation. This is a promise." The transmission ended. Admiral Xenos stared at the blank screen for a long moment. Then he gave an order that shocked his entire crew. "Signal the fleet. We are withdrawing." 3 cycles later, the Chancellors reconvened in the Great Chamber. The holographic display now showed the burning wrecks of Imperial warships, the images captured by surviving drones. Chancellor Vex read Admiral Xenos' report in silence. When he finished, he looked at the other Chancellors. The Admiral recommends immediate and total isolation. He believes that any attempt to subjugate the humans will result in catastrophic losses. He describes them as a species that does not understand surrender. Chancellor Drax was silent. His face, usually so confident, was troubled. He had seen the recordings. He had watched humans fly into certain death without hesitation. He had heard the radio transmissions of pilots saying goodbye to their children before crashing their ships into Imperial cruisers. "What kind of species is this?" he asked quietly. Chancellor Vyar answered, "The kind that survives. The kind that turns weakness into strength. The kind that makes you question whether victory is worth the cost." The Chancellors voted unanimously to leave humanity alone. A barrier was established around their system, not to keep them in, but to keep the galaxy out. Warning beacons were placed at every approach, broadcasting a simple message in every known language. Do not disturb the humans. Do not provoke them. Do not underestimate them. And on Earth, the survivors looked up at the stars with new eyes. They had faced the infinite darkness and found that it feared them. They buried their dead, rebuilt their world, and began to dream of new ships, better ships. Ships that could take them beyond their system, beyond the barrier, into a galaxy that had tried to destroy them. They did not know what they would find out there, but they knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever came next, they would face it together, and they would never surrender.